Another episode. We are live, episode 300 and something.
308 of 8 to the show. We've been traveling around the world. We got a guy in Canada, a guy in Lebanon, a guy in Kuwait, and a guy in North Carolina. It's my first time in the bed recording.
It's pretty cool. And
you can do it, but I can't do it.
There's a difference. Camera angle plays a huge role.
Exactly, and the lighting.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. Listen, we're gonna get into controversial topic, right? And I don't care it's controversial, honestly. Let's talk about it. Some people might be offended, because some people are stupid and don't care about nuance. So yeah, this is
sucks
controversial.
To be you if you're offended, exactly. I guess.
If you're offended, sorry. We're gonna talk about liberalism versus conservatism. Woo! Scary topic. Oh, people go to war over this stuff, but we don't care about it.
Yeah, because the wars usually end up on our turf, and we're the ones who, kind of.
Right? All right. So let's.
Which is one of the topics, by the way, of liberal versus conservatism, right? I gave you guys. Let's pull it up here.
Pull it up. So we found out where they stand on each issue. That's how smart we are. We don't care about the big picture. We care about specific issues.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Promote our IQ. Let's do it.
Yes. Yalla, the most international, most
As you can
podcast.
See, liberal or conservatives, right? We have right and left. Right being conservative, left being liberal. So you're either a hamad or a fil. It's
a donkey or an elephant, exactly.
It's really up to you. So let's look at the definition as according to this website right here. We'll put a link of this in the description below, right? So you guys can check it out yourselves. I'll read it for you guys. It says here, let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. So liberals generally believe in governmental action to achieve equal opportunity and equality for all, and that it is the duty of the government to reduce community issues and to protect civil liberties and individuals and human rights. Also believe the role of the government should be to guarantee that no one is in need.
All right.
Right? So that's
liberals. And I'll read conservatives. Right? Yeah, conservatives generally believe in personal responsibility, limited government, free markets, individual liberty, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. Also believe the role of government should be to provide people the freedom necessary to pursue their own goals. That's a great definition. So now we have the definitions of both.
To be honest, what's curious about what makes me curious about the term liberals is like it comes from liberty, and liberty is like freedom. And then they talk about direct intervention from the government and like giving the government more power to be involved and in the community's affairs, while conservatism talks about more freedom, like not allowing the government to intervene that much and stuff. It's like they're contradicting themselves with their names, with their titles, and
no.
And it's just so weird.
No man, they're forcing you to have freedom.
Basically.
Martial law to have freedom.
I don't know. To me, it just sounds like a bunch of, it's like, why? Because I know in the States especially, people have to choose. They have to know what they are. And they can't be, like, a lot of people don't believe in moderation, to be moderate in this point of view, either agreeing with both sides or none of them at all, right? So today we're going to discuss where we lie in the scale of things, right? So if you can keep track in your head, that's fine. If you want to grab a pen and paper, and you guys listening to us can go along and see where you lie if you want to, and let's take it off, shall we?
Leave a comment if you let's take it off. Leave a comment if you have any interesting ideas or suggestions.
Yep. Basically. Go. Right.
First issue.
So death penalty, right? So the liberals believe we should abolish the death penalty. The death penalty is inhumane, it's cruel, crime, blah blah blah. Imprisonment is the appropriate punishment. Every execution risks, so this is their major argument, every execution risks killing an innocent person, right?
All right, and the conservative one is the death penalty is a punishment that fits the crime. It is neither cruel nor unusual. Executing a murderer is the appropriate punishment for taking an innocent life.
Right.
So these are the two sides of the issue.
Yeah. Before we go into our point of views on this, why don't we have you guys, Abbas, we started recording, by the way. Why don't we have you guys just choose real quick whether you agree with conservatives and liberals, and then we'll ask you guys what your point of view is. Let's start with you, Ali.
All right, sounds good. I this is for me something that I'm very hesitant about, because I don't believe any human being should have the power to take someone else's life. And I think a lot of the issues we have in the world is because of power, and power of like the more powerful causes more corruption. So, and I do believe like, and innocent people do get murdered, but also I'm aware that like some people are just really destroyed as human beings and very like bad people, and there's nothing of their life that's worthy. So maybe they're just wasting taxpayer dollars if they're alive. So I don't know. Yeah, this is where I lean more towards liberal, but I want to know what you guys think.
We'll go on to Sherif. Sherif, what do you think?
I think, man, I think I do agree with the death penalty in some context, like with 50 lines under it. Someone mentioned that before, like I am with it, but it has to be in the jurisdiction of someone who's really, really responsible, or an organization or government that's really, really responsible. And like when they decide that someone's going to get the death penalty, they will have had thorough investigations, thorough, judgment, thoughtful judgment to be sure that this guy really deserves it. Because like Ali said about the taxpayer thing, like when they're just in prisons, like USA has the most expensive prison system in the world, billions and billions of dollars just to keep people well fed and incarcerated in prison. And that's just, it's always, if the guy or the person in question is human filth, who's killed and plundered and like hurt people and has no hope of recovery, by every definition not an innocent person, death penalty. I think in that case, people who are unrepentant, serial killers, for example, yes, they are psychopaths, but are you comfortable, no matter how much you treat this person, to release them back into society? No, they're just going to stay because they get sentenced for life with no chance of parole. I think, for example, the Batman example I always go to it when talking about these things. Batman should have killed the Joker. Some people deserve to die. Some people deserve to die.
Right, because Batman doesn't kill the Joker, and the Joker always runs his antics, right? Regardless. So think of the thousands of people that. Yeah, I see where you're going with this. That's right.
That's
Saeed,
a good example.
Yeah, that's a good example. I like that, Sherif. Saeed, where do you lie on this scheme of things?
Well, I disagree with all of you. Not because like it's a mainly because like I don't believe like anyone is like completely lost. That's why there's always, in my opinion, there's always a type of way where you can help that person either come back or at least find a way to be able to live his life without, doing it again. And the examples that you guys provided. So, okay, let's break down, for example, the Batman example. First of all, Batman is not a therapist. He's just a guy who goes and beats up people and then puts them in prison. The example, so I don't think he's the right person to be dealing with the Joker. That's one. Second of all, the example of the U.S. incarceration, the prison system in the U.S., it is expensive for sure, and I don't believe it is the right system. That's the thing. Because if you go, for example, to examples in Europe, for example, I think it's Denmark or Norway. I'm not 100% sure which.
One of the Scandinavian.
One of the Scandinavian countries. They have a prison system where they rehabilitate the person in a way to the degree where they're actually running out of prisoners. So I would say the U.S. prison system is actually terrible. It's not the concept of prison is a bad thing. It's just the way the U.S. is portrayed. It's bad. And because on top of that, don't forget it is actually a bit of a capitalistic system, because people who the prison systems actually make money out of these prisoners. They're private owned. Exactly. They make money off of it. This is not made for the sake of the prisoners to treat them and make them, human beings again. So that's why I don't agree with the U.S. example, because it's not a good one.
I have a comment on that, man. If I may,
we'll get into free speech later. Let's just get this, because we have a bunch. Abbas, where do you lie in the whole liberal versus conservative on death penalty?
I just came, so I'm kind of lost.
Right, I'll give you a recap real quick. So liberals believe that abolish death penalty, make it, it's obsolete, it doesn't work, we should get rid of it. Conservatives think death penalty is a punishment that fits. If it's a punishment that fits the crime, then go for it. It's good to go. Keep the death penalty, but for appropriate crimes.
All right. So my approach on this is basically, it's a bit of both. I mean, some people do deserve to die. I mean, people who like just mass murder for no apparent reason, and they're just like, you know, I don't think they should die though. Like, I think they should just get the maximum punishment, the maximum penalty. Let them, you know, repent on their whatever they've done, and in the process maybe get to learn about what made them do that in the first place. I mean, I don't think those type of people can be brought back into society naturally without, you know, like I think some of them are like kind of like too much, like too damaged, you know what I mean? But I think we can learn a lot from them to help future cases like that, maybe.
Right. So for me, I'm all for death penalty, right? Especially if you can, like, unless, let me rephrase that. In terms of death penalty, I don't think it should be given out like, you know, a fucking Kinder Surprise in a kindergarten, right? No, I think it's more like if it can be proven that this is the guilty person who did so and so crime, and even though rehabilitation is a thing, you got to think about the people this person killed and their close ones and their parents. Rehabilitating this guy is not going to bring back the dead, right? It's just going to make this guy walk scot-free. So instead, I'm all for an eye for an eye, right? So if this person has killed all these different people, put him in the guillotine. Free speech. What do you guys have any point to comment on each other?
My issue with eye for an eye is that like, I don't think the death penalty relieves the grief of the people who are suffering. You know, like,
very true.
If you do kill someone, I don't think that's gonna like make people feel good. I think they're just gonna keep.
Oh man,
breathing.
It brings closure. It brings a lot of closure. I imagine.
I don't know.
I would absolutely.
What feels better, seeing the person that killed?
That's
the
thing, guys. You say you imagine,
yes.
but it's not like you've actually experienced.
I will say, let me finish my point here, because I did read about recently. There's like a tradition in this African culture in Zimbabwe where if someone kills a member of your family, they get this prisoner, and they throw them in the water, and they let them drown pretty much. And it's up to you if you want to rescue them and let them live, or if you just want to let them drown. And they say that if you just let them drown, you're gonna live your whole life grieving. If you let them drown, you live your whole life grieving. But if you rescue them and you forgive them, you get to let go and move on. So when I read about that, that really made me think about like justice and the way we live our lives. So of course it's inconclusive, but I want to know what you guys think about that.
Yeah. All right. So for me, I put myself in the position of someone close to someone that was murdered. The question I would ultimately ask myself is, would I feel better if they would walk away rehabilitated? Because let's face it, rehabilitation doesn't always work, right? You still have that 20-30% chance that it doesn't. Would I feel better if that person was rehabilitated and walks away scot-free after killing whoever? Or will I feel better when I see this person die the way he killed my friend, my family, my whoever, right? So that's the ultimate question I would come to ask myself in terms of Sherif.
Man, I think we should all just like look. I think none of us have ever experienced that. Thank God. I hope we never experience it. But if you just look at, I don't know, your sense of empathy when you look at a story, right? A movie, a TV show, anything. We've all had characters like the villain in the story who we've really, really hated. Like, imagine the last time you really hated the guy who killed the loved one of the protagonist or something. You really, really hated them. And the moment in the movie or story when they finally die, you feel the sense of like triumph. You feel the sense of like it's sadistic joy, but we do experience, this vengeance, this fire. You want to hurt them like they hurt you. You relate to the character, for example, the protagonist, and you relate to his pain, and you want him to bring the same pain onto the think Simba and Scar from Mufasa, for example. You really want Simba to get vengeance. Like, it's not, you can't deny that. And I think the thing where you say you live your whole life in grief if you let him drown, I think you live your whole life in regret if you don't let him drown, and I don't. So it's a hard situation, but I'm definitely for vengeance.
I just want to make a comment. I think forgiveness is much harder than vengeance. I think vengeance is the easy way out of things. Forgiveness is really tough, and it's more rewarding at the end of the day. Like, if you really think deep down, I think forgiveness is more rewarding. Like, in the long run, you feel better. But vengeance is more of a like short-term burst of like hate and sorrow and all those bad feelings, negative feelings. Then it just gets released in the moment. But then like Ali was saying, like, you can't, if you save that person, it means you forgave him. It's a very mature and very hard thing to do, you know. But in the long run, I do think it doesn't make you feel guilty for letting him drown, or
because if you think
I would
about
agree,
it,
and
you
also
saved.
the concept
go ahead,
about
say.
the concept of vengeance as well. I mean, if you're gonna do an eye for an eye or kill someone else because they killed someone, I mean, that doesn't absolve you from being a murderer yourself, just because you did it out of vengeance. The fact that you also killed that person makes you a murderer in your own right. So you in yourself become the villain that you have sought to defeat. So Sherif, you mentioned, for example, the story of the villain. So imagine if Batman does kill the Joker, wouldn't he become a villain himself? Because since he goes against his own beliefs and his own values, he basically destroys the whole idea that he was building for himself as being this hero that fights for justice, and then he becomes a murderer himself. I mean, this concept that we are taking, that we're looking at it from. So the vengeance example that was being used from the movie, it's not something you can really base on reality, because it's fictional. It's something that when you place yourself in real life in that situation, you would not react the same way as, for example, watching it happening in a movie, because in a movie it's not true, it's not real.
So why do you feel emotions then? Why do you feel sadness and why do you feel sadness?
You can feel it because you can relate to anything that's fictional. That's not the point. You can relate to it, but doesn't mean that when you are yourself placed in that situation, you wouldn't feel. You mentioned empathy, for example. You would also feel empathy when it comes to pulling the trigger on someone, no matter what his actions have done. The fact that you are going to be pulling the trigger, this also plays in your head, man. The fact that you are going to be pulling the trigger for the sake of vengeance, but in reality you're just becoming the murderer yourself. That's kind of
you know what my issue with this whole conversation is, that it's not vengeance. I think it's justice.
I was going to say that.
I disagree.
Vengeance,
right? The term, the justice here is just masked by in the sake of vengeance. Like, it is vengeance. That's the thing, because you want this person dead. But you use the term justice to hide the idea that it is vengeance. But in reality, that's not pure justice. Like, okay, maybe justice is a bit vague.
If you look at it like that, that's fine. But for me, in terms of vengeance and justice, justice is basically it's equivalent in my eyes. When you take revenge on something that happened to you, someone who took away the life of someone you love, to me, it's justice to go and do the same. It's in Arabic, تاخذ حقك. You take your right. Your right is, you might call it being a murderer as well, but at least I did it because it was done to me. I didn't instigate. I just ended the conversation. I ended the whole deal.
That's how wars start, my friend. That's how stories.
Right. We should move on to the next topic soon. Because there's
let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, because this is inconclusive. Yeah, so far.
It is. Yeah, a lot of our things is inconclusive, right? But
let's just throw it out there. I really think we should make this a multi-part series and just have one episode on each. Honestly, I would be down.
Let's see how it goes.
Thank you for sharing my idea.
Yeah, this is deep. We could have a whole topic on each of them. That is true.
So you guys want to keep going, or do you want to keep talking?
Yeah, let's do it. I can talk for days about this shit.
Hey, let's do half. Let's do half this time and half.
Let's do We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Because you spent a good amount on this topic.
8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11, right?
So let's do 5.
Let's do 5 now. We'll do 6 in tomorrow's episode, right? So let's keep watching and let's keep talking, I guess. Economy, right? So favor a market system in which government regulates the economy. We need government to protect us against big businesses. Unlike the private sector, the government is motivated by public interest. We need government regulation to level the playing field.
That's for liberals, and for conservatives,
And that's for limited,
the
liberals.
free market system, competitive capitalism, private enterprise afford the widest opportunity and the highest standard of living for all. Free markets produce more economic growth, more jobs, higher standards of living than those systems burdened by excessive government regulation. The economy.
That's in terms of the economy. Let's go again and hear what everyone has to say about this. We'll start with you again, Ali.
All right. I think that capitalism served its purpose in bringing a lot of technology and health and innovation around the world, giving access to a lot of people to a lot of great things, obviously, and raise the standard of living around the world. However, I'm very aware of the monopolies going on in the world right now. Amazon's buying off everything. Amazon just bought off MGM. Imagine, just the movie studio, right? Lionsgate, and just all these. Yeah, this is recent, and they're buying it's going crazy. It's going rampant. So in true capitalistic,
Disney buying everything as well. It's like everyone's just buying.
Exactly. So that drives profit and growth, obviously, in the economy, but it's hurting so many people along the way. So,
why is it hurting people, man?
Because
it limits the power of
Yes.
the market to smaller groups of big businesses.
individuals, you have a couple of people who have so much power, and then everyone else is powerless. And again, I don't think
It basically restricts the free market.
this is my issue with government and etc. Because do you want the government to have the power, or do you want these entrepreneurs like Jeff Bezos to have the power? This is the situation. We have to choose.
At least we get to choose the government in
Right, because in democracy
right?
and voting,
So-
exactly. But versus Jeff
That's
Bezos,
actually
I
debatable
understand.
as well.
Yeah,
That is
I
debatable.
understand. Yeah,
Exactly.
we will debate it now, right?
yeah,
But I understand where you're going with this, Ali. I think I
Right.
might lean towards what you're saying as well. But let's hear what Sherif has to
I'm
say.
inconclusive. Yeah.
Because I don't really understand the topic. Can someone give me a small recap or? Sorry.
All right, so for liberals, they want the market system in which government regulates the economy, right? Whereas for conservatives, they want a free market system where, it's competitive capitalism, private enterprise afford the widest opportunity, basically, yeah. And
Right,
it's not run by government. Basically, it's government intervention in the economy.
Right.
I agree. That I'm somewhere in the middle. I think more to the liberal side. I think government intervention is necessary, but not to a degree that it cripples the free market. I think it's okay to have people at the top, big corporations, but there also has to be laws to limit ridiculous, growth of the companies so that they become a monopoly, and always try to have laws and regulations that allow smaller businesses to be able to compete fairly, against those and produce their own innovations and creativity and growth and development and all that.
Right. Said?
I am also in the middle, since there should be government regulation, but not fully as what liberals would claim. I do want a free market, but not to the point where conservatives want it. And I feel like there was, I saw the example of Norway where they did a pretty good example where the government does get involved, where they actually openly participate in capitalism, in the sense that they also make their own investments, and the money and the profits that they make goes back to the people. So in a sense, they are regulating the economy by getting involved in capitalism. So it's a bit of both. So yeah, I guess I'm in the middle. That's what I would say.
And Abbas?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning more towards the liberal government side, because I hate this, the example Ali gave of Jeff Bezos. Basically, cash is king in this world. The more cash you have, the more you can spend, the more you can invest. And it leaves little to no room for the little people, the little guys starting out, small businesses. I mean, I just want to give a small example. In the past 5 years, the street that my dad works in Manhattan, bro, there was a lot of small businesses, and now they're all kicked out. They're out of businesses, and all the big, huge corporations are now moving in. There's no room for small to medium businesses to work, and I hate that concept. I really hate it. So But at the same time, you can blame the government for doing this. Like some governments lean towards the capitalistic side of things.
They support them.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like the U.S.
yeah, no, I'm talking about the U.S. here.
Yeah,
There's a phenomenon, guys, of like small towns in America, even North Carolina, actually. Ali,
Yes.
there I've read about stories where like there would be several different, local stores that provide different needs, right? Different products, everything, services. And then like Walmart comes, like the Walton brothers decide to open a Walmart in that town. And suddenly, because they serve everything a person needs is at Walmart. Literally, I never go anywhere else.
Yeah.
One place. They all go out of business eventually, and they and half the town gets employed at Walmart. It's ridiculous.
No, it's true. I mean, I can tell you from my actual experience right now. I'm in North Carolina driving through, and people tell me like these all used to be small business stores, and now they're all chain stores, pretty much.
Yeah.
Different restaurants or just anything, any kind of thing. I will say, commenting on this, I've read a lot about the economy, and I think the best solution is universal basic income. This, where you can have a capitalistic society, but also make sure that everyone's taken care of and have at least their basic needs met. I think that's the best solution. So I really like.
But how will universal basic income prevent Walmart, man? Prevent, like, for example, like Walmart.
It's not preventing it. It's just giving the little guy a fair chance.
Exactly, because it's not fair that Walmart's taking everything and people are left with nothing. But if you can let Walmart grow if everyone has the opportunity to at least live a good life. You don't have to choose to be capitalistic. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have that chance to grow.
If I can make a comment about that, what I would say is allow growth, allow the capitalism side to work, but place basically, so you know how there's like the first example that pops in my head is, for example, in Company of Heroes, there's a population cap for how many soldiers you can produce. So that I would use on, for example, the growth, the maximum growth of a company, like the maximum capacity they can reach is limited. Don't make it an open-ended kind of thing. Make a specific restriction to how many, for example, how many franchises you can have, how much area you can go over, because you don't need that much. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't have to be. You're already making a lot of money. It doesn't have to be like that. Like make a specific restriction. That's what I meant by how the government, like, allow free market, but also the government intervenes at specific positions.
Can they like introduce like a tax system where like the more they grow, the more they pay tax, and then like they give it to the little guys and it helps
tax the rich, feed the poor.
Yeah.
Actually, Scandinavian countries, to comment on that, have a law. Some countries have a law where, like, for example, when you pay a parking ticket, it's actually a percentage of your net income, rather than like a $50 flat fee, which rich people drive their Lamborghinis, they don't care, they pay $1 million a year, and they endanger people's lives. But no, if you're rich, it's going to be 2.5%, it's like thousands of dollars each parking ticket. So
taxes, because like people like Amazon, bro, they have so much tax evasion, it's not even funny, bro.
True.
By the way, guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Ali, we didn't get your opinion on the matter.
My opinion?
Yeah.
I know jack shit about economy, so to me, like, that's why I stayed silent.
What would you prefer, man?
I was kind of I was like, thank God they forgot to ask me, because I'm just gonna listen here. And then this asshole comes like, oh yeah, Eddie, what about you? And now
no, man, I'm an acting moderator, so like I try to shoot everyone in the chat. That's
fine. To me, I mark this one as liberal-ish. Kind of.
I think that's what we all agreed on.
But to me, what scares me about the liberal point of view is, say I did end up becoming the next Jeff Bezos, right? I've skyrocketed. I've done everything right, and my company is huge. It's gonna give me that fear or that limitation of, if I reach this certain point, right, this milestone, things might start to counteract on me.
They're not going to counteract. Even if Jeff Bezos gets taxed more, he's still making so much money. Invest in Ali stocks and invest in A to the show, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, invest in A to the show, honestly. Yeah,
I know, because it's true. Life isn't fair, and historically, that always happens. You always have one person on top. One Joe Rogan podcast, one Mozart. Like, it's not like everyone can be the number one. That's just how
Exactly.
society works. I'm aware of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's, if you look throughout history, Amazon, what came before Amazon? There was probably something that was similar to Amazon,
FedEx.
like, right? A
Right,
company
yeah.
that's on top.
Walmart.
Before them, there was another company on top. If we're talking about Simba and Lion King, no king rules forever. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So
No, my thing is it's not like Jeff Bezos being rich. That's not the issue. The issue is Jeff Bezos using his richness to put other people out of, like basically
Yeah.
restricting other people from becoming rich.
You know, it's
That's
true.
That's the issue.
Yeah, that's-
Stopping
Yeah.
people and like creating this barrier of entry to the market. So like if now you want to become like a competitor to Amazon, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's like definitely impossible because of how much power they have, how much money they have. and,
Alibaba. He's the only competitor.
yeah, but he's not even in the US. He's like
That is
he
true.
works in other countries, China and stuff.
But
So,
still,
yeah,
I
that's
think the thing is, I can't really comment on this personally because I'm terrible with the
Right.
economy. I
Well,
know
we
I-
all
I'm
agree,
nothing.
and I think what happened. I mean, Kuwait's kind of like when you give everyone universal basic income. When you give someone
And
just
Kuwait
like,
is more
starting
liberal in terms of economy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say.
it helps everyone and like gives people breathing room to move around and be able to work.
Yes.
I like it in Europe where they give you like if you have a kid, you have a couple months where you can take care of that kid. Versus in America, it's like how many sick days do I get and stuff like that, and it keeps you in that like
Yeah.
work, hustle mentality, and that's not healthy.
In Germany, you have like
Yeah.
3 years. There's paternal leave as well. Paternal leave is like 4 months, and maternal leave is like 3 years in some
That's-
countries
yeah.
in Europe.
Right.
In Lebanon, it's like 2 months or something. It's
You don't have that in the
Kuwait-
United States at all. Yeah,
How much is
exactly.
maternal leave in
Lebanon,
Kuwait? I think maternal leave in Kuwait is until the child is old enough to go to a kindergarten.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
That's great.
That is
great.
amazing.
That's good. It gives the
Several
mother
years.
time to.
So obviously, so I think we're all agreeing more on the liberal side of this, this
Yeah.
topic.
So then we move on.
Yeah.
Then we move
I
on.
want to say a small
Inclusive.
funny fact. Funny fact. Sorry. There's about the thing where Said said like you don't have to be everywhere. These big franchises and companies. Bahrain has more McDonald's in Bahrain than Bahrain has consulates and embassies in other countries.
Imagine. Yeah. Let that sink in.
I mean, wait. If you really want to count it, that's like what the maximum you can have is like 200, right? I mean, 200 McDonald's isn't that much.
Yeah, but Bahrain doesn't have that many.
But Bahrain doesn't have
Yeah,
that many
but
embassies
for sure-
around the world.
Yeah.
But for
That's-
sure, 200. But for sure, you
Why are we
don't
talking
need that
about
many
Bahrain and
McDonald's.
Jeff
in general.
Bezos? I don't understand. What's our conversation today? Speaking of Jeff Bezos, he's going to space like 20th of July.
He's trying to. Oh,
With
he's
his
actually
brother.
going to stay. I didn't
Yeah,
hear
he's
about
going with his
He's
brother.
going to space.
Bro, I
Is he
just-
gonna what? Is he gonna open another branch in
Amazon.
a warehouse?
For
Amazon
Mars.
fulfillment center. in
Fucking
space.
see, this is what I mean. It's like don't be everywhere. Fuck off, man. Like leave
He's
space
gonna
for someone
compete
else.
with NASA. He's gonna
Leave
compete with
space
NASA.
for someone else. I like
Yeah, man. Yay.
Moving on.
On
that.
that
Moving
note,
on.
we move on.
I think this is like the biggest issue of our generation, and our generation is going to face this issue the most: the environment, right? So liberals sometimes believe that conservatives don't care as much about protecting the environment. Liberals will argue that that industrial growth can harm the environment. They argue global warming is caused by an increased production of carbon dioxide. The US is a major contributor to global warming because it produces 25% of the world's carbon dioxide. The US should enact laws to significantly reduce that amount, and if it reduces some economic growth, then so be it.
Shoot 25%.
All right, conservatives want clean water, clean air, and a clean planet, just like everyone else. However, extreme environmental policies destroy jobs and damage the economy. Changes in global temperatures are natural over long periods of time. So far, science has not shown that the humans can affect permanent change to the Earth's temperature. Yeah.
Right, so
I think this basically depends on the facts. Whoever's correct has like if science actually shown that we can't permanently affect the Earth's temperature, fine. But then the liberals say that we are affecting it. So I think this whole thing based on the facts.
Well,
I'll
the
try to
facts
shut
are
this
kinda
down right
obvious.
now.
Yeah, right.
yeah, I'll kind of shut this down like
Yeah.
right now. I live in a country where it was 53 degrees Celsius today. Today. It was 53 degrees Celsius today, beginning of summer. I sat with my dad. I was like, Dad, think back 30 years ago. Was it this hot in June? He was like, it used to reach max, if it reached 40 degrees in summer or 45 degrees in the whole of summer, whoa, that was like, oh my God, right? That was it.
I'm sorry,
extremely.
man. Yeah, dude, that's not
It
good.
reached 53 today in the beginning of summer. I took a picture in one of our stories on Instagram, if any of you watching remember. It was 51 2 days ago. So
You should have posted the 53,
no
man.
one. I don't care if you're a scientist with PhD telling me global warming is bullshit. Bro,
Right.
I'm experiencing it.
Right.
I don't
We're
need
all
science.
experiencing. I think we all have
Like,
these stories, and I'm
yeah,
very hard
for
on the
sure,
liberal
yeah.
side. Obviously,
You know
we
what I
can't
mean?
live. The economy is important, but you can't live without the planet. Obviously, so let's heal this planet right now and stop it.
The thing that I would say about this is that I watched this Joe Rogan podcast where he had this guy with talking about climate change, and I think the guest of his was a bit skeptical. I think he was talking to, what's his name, the guy who's always talking about conspiracy theories that you guys love so much.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. I think he was talking to Alex Jones. Yeah, he was talking to Alex Jones about the point, and they were talking about climate change. So obviously Joe Rogan he believes in climate change, and he supports stopping it. While Alex Jones is a very skeptical.
He's a
guy.
contrarian. I don't like. He's on everything, man. You can't be.
To be honest, the guy does come off as crazy sometimes.
No.
Yeah.
Alex Jones has solid theories, man. He has a theory about how the frog, the water is making the frog gay.
Turning the frogs freaking
frogs are
gay.
gay.
Yeah, we've all seen that. Yeah.
So something that he did talk about is that so that the globe, the temperature of Earth is increasing, and there's higher carbon dioxide levels, and this is actually somehow better for the Earth, because before humans were, when it was Pangea, and there was like most of Earth was like water. So
What is he talking about?
Or how did we go into Pangea? Wait, go back. Repeat the entrance
repeat
into.
it.
Yeah.
Pangea.
Please.
How do we get there?
So Pangea was basically before we had these 7
Yes,
continents.
before human
It was
civilization.
continent.
Yeah.
Yeah, before human civilization. So temperatures, for example, at the times of the dinosaurs,
We know.
was actually higher, and there was much more carbon dioxide levels. And the thing is, that kind of makes sense. But what he didn't clarify is that it's not good for human beings. This is why we are fighting climate change, because it's not good for us. It's probably good for like the plants and the environment, like for the Earth, but not for us. That's why.
But we have air conditioner, man.
It's not good for the plants. What is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
No,
We have
because
chopping down
Sherif,
trees.
Sherif,
not good.
we
We're
have
chopping
air
down-
conditioners.
we're
right?
chopping down
Plants
trees,
don't.
but like higher CO2 levels is actually better for plants, not
No,
for
Right,
us.
High
true,
CO2
but don't chop down trees.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause-
no, I'm not saying that. I'm not.
I
I'm
mean,
not
higher CO2 levels are good for plants, but what good is it going to be for plants if the fucking plants aren't there?
Exactly. And we're fighting
That's
over
not-
clean
that's
air
not the
and
point.
water.
That's not the
Yeah.
point I was trying to make, because like
What was the
we
point
also,
then?
we also release a lot of CO2 from coal combustion and other kind of raw materials that we use.
Right, cows.
Resources.
Yeah.
Cows, yeah, whatever, methane, gas,
Crude oil.
crude oil, exactly. All of these things, not only from cutting trees.
No. But the thing is, here's why cutting trees is a major issue, right? So we're already producing CO2. And we're also cutting down the shit that's taking in that CO2 and turning it into O2, right? Oxygen, what we fucking
sure.
live on, right? So it's like speeding the process of global warming in a way, because
Yeah.
when you take off the plus and the minus in the equation, you're left with, nothing.
Acceleration, yeah, honestly. And it's not good. I think we all
So the
agree
qu-
on this topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah,
are we
yeah,
liberal or
all
con-
humans must die? No, I'm just joking.
So where
I
do
don't
we
like
lie
that.
in the whole scheme of things? Are we in the, the U.S. should enact laws to significantly reduce the amount?
Yes.
If it reduces the economic growth, then so be
And
it.
you'll
Or are
create
we-
new jobs. All these
Not-
electric things
Not
being
only the
created.
U.S., Canada,
the whole world.
World.
Need world
China,
cooperation.
everywhere. By the way,
Right.
Sherif, Canada has a very bad influence on the climate.
Hmm.
Actually, man, Canada has crazy good recycling, environmentally sustainable.
Yeah, you recycle a lot, you recycle a good amount, but you still release a lot of CO2.
Yeah, but that's all populous places, I
But
guess.
yeah,
Until we get
every
electric
urban,
vehicles.
every urban area on Earth has that.
Yeah.
Dude,
At
you're
least-
releasing so much CO2 as you speak. What do you mean? It's the same concept, right? It's just the more people are in one located area, the more CO2 is more likely to be produced. You have
But we
cars,
recycle them, yeah.
but like it's
we
reducing.
recycle more than Lebanon.
Listen,
We don't produce as much CO2 as you. You
All
have to
right.
recycle.
Moving on.
Actually, per
Moving on.
your density of your country, per the density, like if in proportion, we are much less.
I would say so. I would agree with
In
Sherif.
proportion
We should
to
move
the
on.
size
Yes,
of
exactly.
the country, we're
Yes.
much less than.
Final statement:
Lebanon.
it's better to lose some jobs
Show me
than
your
not
statistics.
have any
and we will
humans
talk.
for jobs.
Show me your sources.
thank you, Abbas. Always
Thank you,
the
Abbas.
wisest of the group,
The wisest
Right?
guy. Let's move
the
on.
wisest guy of the wise
Wisest
guys.
of the
I'm
wise.
not.
guys.
I'm not.
Yep. Anyways, we move on to my favorite topic to talk about.
Oh, I thought he was gonna go healthcare.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite to talk because you guys are gonna be surprised with where I lied on things on.
Let's
on
go.
over
Let's
here.
go. Read it.
Right. The Second Amendment gives no individuals the right to own a gun, but allows the state to keep a militia. Guns kill people. Guns kill children.
All right, this is on the liberal side for gun control. On the conservative side, they say the Second Amendment gives the individual the right to keep and bear arms. Gun control laws do not reward criminals. You have the right to defend yourself against criminals. More guns means less crime. Oof.
I'm heavily, if I may start, I'm heavily on liberal side. I think less guns there are in circulation, the less crime happens. That's not true. I think gun control does thwart crime, at least violent or like homicidal crime, things like that. How much percentage of murder in the U.S. is with guns? It's
I
crazy.
know. I know.
Right.
Bro, not only that,
You're
also the
different.
people who, like, you have a higher chance of dying from guns if you own a gun yourself. Like, there's an actual statistic based on that. In the US,
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah.
So
Right, and kids
Yeah,
have
I'm
it,
with- I'm with-
mistakes happen, accidents happen.
for sure.
Right.
When you hear those kids like shooting their
Shit.
parents also as well, it's like, where'd you get the gun? It's like, oh, my dad has a
This
gun.
is-
Bro,
I
not only that, 650 people. Sorry, 650 people every year. This was in 2018. I read this statistic. 650 people every year shoot their balls. Because
How is this-
wrong in the holster? I swear to God.
That's not relevant to.
It is relevant. It is relevant. Exactly.
want-
Actually,
No, it is
accidental.
relevant. Self-inflicted harm by
I'm
your own
very-
gun. Yeah.
Self-inflicted harm. Yes.
Yeah,
actually.
if they didn't have a gun, they wouldn't have shot themselves. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I'm with the conservatives on this. I'll be very honest.
Holy
Why do
shit.
you-
Here's
why do you-
why.
Here, why?
Here's
Go
why.
for it.
Allow me to explain myself,
Fighting
and
aliens?
then
Fight the
I will.
aliens.
Bro, if aliens found a way to make it here, a fucking gun is not gonna do jack shit.
Exactly,
against them.
so-
They would have
so-
found a
so
way to
why do you need
weaponize light or something.
Why do you need them?
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Be it there is or there isn't gun control, you can't deny the fact that there are people, even here in Kuwait, by the way, I'll say it openly, we have people that Kuwait is extremely against, like, is very liberal when it comes to gun control and owning guns. No one's allowed to own guns. Yet, we see on our news, unfortunately, people shoot other people with guns. So,
What's the
Yes, sir.
statistics in Kuwait, by the way?
I'm not too sure, and it's not something that's
Also
publicly
stats.
released. The
Yeah,
statistics, right?
I can
Yeah,
imagine.
so
in
I can't.
Kuwait, yeah.
I can't
No, because
really
like if the
talk.
crime rate is very low, then I would say the gun
Okay.
control is working.
It's very. It's listen. It's low, but it's noticeable when it happens every 2 weeks, every month, every 1 week. Every.
Is that how often it happens? You think?
You know what I mean? It's how often we hear about this kind of shit. Because let's not forget how news
Kuwait-
and shit
and
is
Kuwait
run.
But yeah,
It's
that's
a
the
small
thing. That's the
country
issue.
also,
That's the
right?
issue. The news likes to
So-
project this bad news. So
let
that
me finish and then we can go into everything. Listen, I say give everyone the right to defend themselves, right? Give everyone a gun, but there should be heavy education and heavy restriction on who gets a gun and who doesn't, right? So this bullshit background check you have in the US, it's
No,
a good
it's not.
idea. It's not being executed perfectly, or at least in the right sense of the way, or in the right way. Or I don't know why I'm adding a bunch of extra shit to my words. It's not being done correctly, right? You should have education, training, proper usage, storage, and all that stuff. But give the people the right to defend themselves. Because as an officer, right? Say I got called. There's shit going on in the house. would I be more comfortable guessing if they have a gun in there, or being 90% sure that they probably have a gun in there, so I should probably take my precautions, right? It's the same shit that goes to house robbery. If someone walks into my house with a gun, would I be comfortable? Would I be more, ready for a home invasion, potential home invasion, knowing I own a gun and he owns a gun, or, oh shit, he might have a gun and I don't. How am I gonna deal with this?
Here's an idea. What if nobody had a gun?
Yeah, but
Exactly.
but that's impossible. That's
You don't have a gun.
impossible.
That's not impossible.
It is
That's
impossible.
the point.
Heavy
That's the point
restriction.
of gun control. So that if there is a home invasion, he's not coming at you with a gun.
Okay, but
I mean-
again, I'll say it again. It's impossible to completely clear the streets off of guns.
Right.
If it was possible, drugs would be off the street.
That's true.
A
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
different
Of
things
course,
be off
there's
the street.
criminals doing crime, but I don't think the problem is. I feel like a lot of people who aren't criminals can become criminals because they have access to it.
Yes.
And one of the things that
sure.
breaks my heart the most about what's going on in the United States is the school shootings. I think that's
Mm.
really cruel, and I don't think it's right. And these kids are getting access to guns to go shoot other kids from their parents because it's so willy-nilly, and everyone can get a gun. So this is what really breaks my heart with this whole topic.
Yeah.
However, I know
also-
I'm
people-
gonna say it's crazy, man. It's had so many school
yeah.
shootings.
It's
in
not
the
it's
last
not
10
right.
years, man.
People should
10,000
go through
something.
that.
It's crazy.
True.
And it's
it is
like-
not right.
People,
But that's not because guns are in the streets.
Also,
it's because
Ali,
guns are
another
not
thing-
being used or not being stored away correctly.
Ali,
Also.
also
Dude,
another
let's
thing
look
that you
at
mentioned-
Columbine.
Wait, I
Right?
want to comment on something that you said, which is the background checks. So, like you said, also like not everything is going to be perfectly done, and background checks are definitely not going to be perfectly done. Even if they do it so well, there's still going to be mistakes where people can get the license to get a gun, and they are not supposed to get it, and they might end up being maybe alcoholics, or they have like some sort of anger issue, and they just they just go off and they use their gun for such uses as a school shooting.
Right,
So,
okay.
and don't forget, the
talk-
person who gets the license to get the gun, he also has family members who are not being background checked. It's usually just the person who gets the gun.
Can
So
we-
there's also family members who are also getting like the access to the gun when they don't have the license for it.
let me share a story also before we continue talking on the relevant to that.
Yeah.
So I heard about this story recently, and there are many states in the United States where carrying guns are regular. So there was this family of people that in the neighborhood that this one guy came in with a gun, and he was drunk or something. He shot his wife, and then he shot himself in front of his kid. Imagine that. And this is just next door. So think about stuff like that. If he didn't have a gun, that would not have happened. So these are the stories. Like, the more stories I hear about real life people and these types of situations, the more it breaks my heart, and the more I realize that I don't think people should have guns. And even for purposes like hunting and stuff, I still don't think people should have guns. Maybe like bows and arrows and stuff is a better way to go about it. But yeah, as for even when maybe if I understand the argument that if you're really trained and you really go through extensive background checks, maybe you should get it, maybe you can get it, but I don't know why you even need it to begin with. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
defense
think-
purposes.
I mean,
mainly.
education is important. I understand.
Right, education is
Even with
important.
education, but even with education, like Saeed said, there could be people under the influence. There could be people with mental illnesses. Bro, me and Ali, we studied for 7 years of medicine, and we're trained. Hopefully, we're gonna be trained professionals, and we could still make mistakes and kill a person. I mean,
Because
it's
in that we're all
really
humans.
easy- Yeah, it's really easy to make a mistake. And like Ali was saying, there's a lot of stories like that just breaks your heart. Like, if there wasn't any guns, this wouldn't happen. So
Yes.
I'm pro.
Man, I think I would much rather be angry at my family without a gun. For example, angry at my family without a gun. I would, honestly, I would, man. You never know, man.
No, exactly. I mean,
Humans can fuck up. We can get angry. We can hurt people badly.
Yeah,
I'd rather have something
true,
else in my
true.
This
hand
is,
rather
but
than
this
a gun.
conversation can go into either the root of all evil or the what ifs. It's the same. I can talk the same about drugs, right? If drugs were
I agree.
never made and never invented, people would not be addicted on drugs. But they are made and they are out on the
Yeah.
streets, and
And
people
you
do
can't
use
ban
them,
Yeah, you
right?
can't
Same
ban
as with guns.
So stop
Same
the
as with
manufacture, the
guns.
wholesale manufacture of weapons.
So you're
Not
trying to go to the no. What I'm saying is you're trying to go to the root of all evil, and say we should completely. But it's impossible to get to the root of all evil,
Right.
because regardless,
Wouldn't it help
if you remove, sorry, Abbas.
Wouldn't it help though? Like
It would
Accidentally
reduce
evil.
it, wouldn't it?
Not evil, not criminals. Maybe you can't stop those, but all these accidental things that
all these accidental
the gray
things
area
that
is gone at least.
100,000s, yeah.
It's not about the gray area. It's
Ali,
'cause you
actually,
can't-
something I want to give you an example that you might be able to relate to is, for example, alcohol and religion. So, for example, religion prohibits alcohol. Wouldn't you consider that if it did allow it, maybe it would be more used, more abused? Like, because we all know for sure there are people who are, for example, Muslims, they still do drink. But if it was allowed in Islam, wouldn't it be abused more?
Okay. In terms of alcohol, it's more of it's not offense versus defense. It's more of a self-harm or self-enjoyment versus self-harm. You know what I mean? You can't compare usage of alcohol and whether it's allowed or not allowed the same as with weapons, right? Because weapons can be used in terms of defense and offense, which is why going to war in defense in Islam is permitted. In offense is not permitted. I think. Don't quote me.
Don't quote me. I think
when we talk about
Asterix.
alcohol, right? Like, don't quote me. Listen, don't quote us on anything
Yeah,
in this
quote us.
episode,
This is
right?
controversial.
It's
Enough.
controversial. It's just
Yeah.
us discovering.
It's not about an empire, man. They went on the offense.
I mean, true. That's not our conversation for today. With gun control, I think regardless of whether you try to remove all the guns from the street, people will still own guns. Here in
agree with
Kuwait
you.
is a good example. People still
Ali,
have
I
guns.
agree with you.
I think
I'm
we all
talking
agree with
about
you.
Anna, I'm talking about the reduction. That's what I mean. Like, if you
Okay.
abolish it, wouldn't it at least reduce the amount of damage that it can cause? That's what I'm trying to say.
But what can do more damage? A guy walking into well, I'm not going to use school because I feel like it's a little bit too over, right? But let's say a guy walks into a house, right, with a gun. What's going to be more damaging? A guy walks into a house with his gun and he finds everyone in this house has a gun, or a guy walks into a house where no one has a single piece of firearm, right? And what's going to be more damaging?
Ali, in that situation, so the situation that you're giving me, that guy who's going to do a home invasion, his intention is to steal,
not to kill.
So if the people in the
No, it
household
could be
have
to kill as
guns,
well. It's regardless.
okay.
Let's
So
talk about
the people,
stealing.
if the people in the household all have guns, then there's definitely going to be a Mexican standoff with like just everyone,
Everyone's gonna die. Everyone's gonna die.
Like, there's definitely someone who's going to die, but in a home invasion, there doesn't have to be someone to die. That's the concept.
I don't think a burglar is gonna put the house
Nobody's stealing
I
my
mean, he's
TV.
probably gonna end up like
and knows like they all have guns, bro. He must be a stupid ass burglar to go in a house who's heavily armed. His dad was in the U.S. Marines, and they all.
Yeah, exactly.
Abbas,
Yeah,
the thing is, I don't think the burglar is doing a background check on who he's robbing.
Well, they do.
It's like,
Actually, they
wait, let
do,
me
they do.
open his files. It's like,
They actually
bro.
do you, man. Home Alone, man.
Great
Bro,
quote
that's-
reference. Yeah.
Man. Sherif, you quote too many movies. It's not working. It's not working out. Too many
Because, man,
fictional- fictional stories,
Fiction,
Yeah,
fiction
I don't-
is,
go ahead.
I think we all kind of agree because it's like you're not saying that everyone should have it. We're not saying everyone should have it. We say that the people who should have it should be very trained and specialized and have very deep education in it and very deep
course.
background checks and maybe regular like checkups and stuff like that. I think we all
But
agree on that.
I want to talk a little bit about also the point where they said, "Oh, kids accidentally shooting their parents." Obviously, condolences to whoever is
Yes, dude.
growing up and accidentally shot their parents, right? But if you put that shit in a safe, right? Like, how is a kid gonna guess the password to a safe?
Exactly. It's background
right?
checks. Again, it's the same idea. Is that parents
Yeah,
were not.
it's not back at it's
Exactly.
pure education.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
don't leave your gun
Education.
lying,
Exactly. So
right?
maybe educated people can have it, but not everyone should have it. I think
Yeah,
that's
you should
where
like do
we're all
like
coming.
a super hard exam to own a gun.
Exactly. So we're all kind of on the same page then, right? On this situation, because some
Plus
people would
minus.
say the conservatives say that everyone should have it. The liberals say that it should be
No one should
very
have it.
heavy regulated.
No, they say it should gives no individual the right to own guns. It literally
Except-
says that.
Cops,
No,
But allows
they
the
said-
state to keep a militia.
a militia. Yeah, it's only for
Ah.
militias.
like armies.
So-
Like
No, like, for
National,
example, the
National
National Guard.
Guard, Armed
I see.
Forces, police, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to kill someone. I want the police.
But to be
someone,
honest, also the U.S.
yeah.
Constitution, the U.S.
Yeah.
Constitution is a bit
Old.
like under it's
Yeah.
old, and under the Second Amendment, it also says the right to bear arms under like for militias, and militias can also mean not necessarily a militia that works for the government, a militia that probably fights the government, because in the Constitution it also says where if the government is not working by the Constitution, the people do have the right to bear arms against the government.
Right.
Like that's
to
the
overthrow
original
them.
concept of the Second
And I
Amendment.
understand that. I
It's
do
to bear
understand
arms
that
against
part
the
of it.
government by
Yes.
creating a
Yeehaw.
militia.
But I don't think you can take down the government with guns,
Oh.
unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Revolution,
we'll move
basically.
on to.
Actually,
I
You
think
can't
many
move on.
revolutions have happened.
This is true.
we're gonna move on to the last topic. This topic is gonna be mainly brought to you by. I mean, we'll listen to you guys. Obviously, I'm not saying we're not listening.
Brought
But
to you
mainly
by
me
media.
and you.
Yeah,
Abbas, this is
Let's
this
see
is-
what
this is-
let's see what we have to say. All right, healthcare, right?
Healthcare. Support universal government supports universal government supervised healthcare. There are millions of oh man, why is it always Americans? There are millions of people who can't
this
afford
is based on
health
America, that's why.
insurance, right? There are millions of people who can't afford health insurance. They are being deprived of basic right to healthcare.
Right.
True.
Conservatives think that free healthcare provided by the government means that everyone will get the same poor quality healthcare. The rich will continue to pay for
Privatizations.
superior healthcare, while other will receive poor quality free healthcare from the government. Healthcare should remain privatized.
Poor quality healthcare is better than no healthcare.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Move on.
When I was sitting here, right? I was literally like marking off where I am. When I came to healthcare, I was like, "Wal al balash," you know what I mean? Like I'd
Better
rather
bad
take,
than nothing. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
better
wait,
bad
okay.
than nothing. Yeah.
Guys, let's take the example of, for example, Sherif, you're in Canada. You guys have free healthcare.
I'm
Your
afraid to
healthcare
have free
system-
healthcare.
Yeah, okay. Also, your healthcare system is considered better than the U.S. healthcare, which is a free market, which is
I don't know.
privatized.
Sorry, I don't want to think. I think maybe there are a bunch of because I know people travel around the world to come to the United States to get treatment because we have some of the best hospitals, of course, and
True.
some of the best doctors, of course.
Yeah,
But
if you're
the
a
asterisks-
millionaire.
That exactly, if you're a millionaire. If someone like me got hit by a bus, not only do I have to get the freaking and like the pain and the injuries, but I also have to I'm bankrupt forever.
Financial pain. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like I'd rather be like, don't take me to the hospital. I don't have to pay. It's already
Yeah,
bad enough.
but for example, Canada has a very strong healthcare system, and it's free for everyone. Like, there's nothing has to do with poor quality or high quality. It's available for everyone. Everyone can get proper treatment, and it works. It's not like you're hearing these massive stories of like shitty healthcare that's being done in the Canada.
Shitty and retardedly expensive healthcare too. Like
Exactly.
Abbas, what do you
I mean,
think?
I took a whole course on this, bro. I took
Ooh.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
AB, bro, and it was focusing on exactly this, but on the scale of Lebanon and how shitty Lebanon is in healthcare system. But look, we took a lot about like even the American healthcare system isn't fully praised and all that glorious, the more government influenced healthcare systems are, you do sacrifice some quality, and it's really hard to give free healthcare in the same quality as private healthcare systems because sometimes, like I said, money actually works. I don't agree with it. I wish we lived in a society where healthcare was free and 5 stars. But,
I agree.
I mean, Europe
Can I
and Canada
comment on
do it
this?
well, man.
Yeah, they do.
I didn't comment on this.
Can I comment on this? What
Go
I want to
ahead.
say is, okay, so for sure the quality does a bit drop off since there's less incentive. But the thing is, the higher quality of care that you're talking about is provided to only a very small percentage of the population. Is it really worth it to have that very top tier quality of healthcare provided to only a small amount of people? I mean,
I wasn't agreeing. I was just stating the fact what I learned from the course. But yeah, for sure, I think free
I
healthcare.
think
So-
what you learned from the course, man, is you have to move to Canada. Also.
Okay. My opinion on the whole regard before we end the episode, because we did go way past our time, right? Is right. Basically, the way it runs in Kuwait is we have private hospitals and public hospital. Yeah. So private hospital gives you the chance where if you can afford top tier quality healthcare, you can go and do it at a private hospital, right? But if you can't afford it, then you have the public hospital. Now, why do I like the system? Because if you were a doctor that's more into the dough, your aim is to work in a private hospital, right? If you were a doctor, because private hospital doctors make way more money than public hospital doctors. If you're a doctor who is in this, who became a doctor because you are a noble person inside, because you believe that healthcare is about helping people who can't help themselves, right? Because people like me and Abbas dedicate years into studying, mastering, precision, getting things right, just so we can take care of our family and loved ones, right? And if this is really why we're into it, then we can go work in a public hospital where we can dedicate our time purely on this noble act of helping human beings, improving the quality of life, right?
You guys want the money though.
I agree.
Of course we do. Why is it that we work though? Think about it.
No,
Why
I
is
agree.
it that, you know what I
Honestly,
mean?
the system that you just mentioned, I have to agree that actually would
sounds good to me.
that would be a
You know?
Yeah, nice.
So either way, whether you go to private or public, you go to public, doctors want to help you. You go to private, doctors want to help you for money. End of the day, they both want to help you.
Actually, you have that in Lebanon as well. That I just realized, like,
But the public is shitty.
We have, actually, it's okay. Yeah, it's not as good as private. So, for example, it's not.
We don't even have a public sector, bro. What are you talking about? It's
No,
so
we
bad.
do have public hospitals.
It's so
What are you
bad.
talking
This is
about?
very-
No, they're much cheaper, but they also do, bro. I forgot what I think it was Rafiq
Bro, trust
Hariri
me, I-
hospital. I know, no, I understand what you're saying. The quality is not as good, but during the COVID cases,
it's not even-
most of the ICU cases were being held in the public hospitals, and they were actually being taken care of, bro. I mean,
Bro, okay, this is COVID,
right now
bro.
we have a 0.7% infection rate.
No,
in
bro.
the-
This is
in-
COVID. This is something
Wow.
different, bro. But
COVID. Let's not put COVID in our.
Okay, let's not put
arguments.
COVID. I understand, but the thing is, both are available. That's what I'm trying to say. In Lebanon, I mean, Lebanon in general is not a very perfect situation to compare. But
Even the public
what I was
sector-
saying is, like, it is available.
even the public sector needs a lot of employees, bro. A lot. And bro,
I agree.
What
Abbas,
they
I
help
agree.
you- what-
I'm not saying Lebanon is a good example.
Whoever
I'm just
has
saying
cancer-
it exists in Lebanon.
Bro, whoever has like cancer here, I really feel bad for them. They can't pay their bills, even in the public sector. They don't have. They would just merely say, we don't have that type of care. Go to AUB or private.
All right, so I guess we all kind of agree on the same page that we should definitely have universal healthcare. Obviously, I think health is a right at this point, and I think we're past the point of like certain people can have it. I think we can all have it, and we can all afford it and make it work. We should do the last.
What's
topic.
better? Here, no, we've hit 5 by the way.
Did we do 5 or 4?
Yeah, we did. We did death penalty, economy, the environment, gun control, and healthcare.
All right, that's 5. We can
Yeah, that's 5. So join us next time. Obviously, thank you very much for watching another episode of A to the show. If you guys enjoyed this episode half as much as we enjoyed filming for you, like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah. And if you're
join us
listening
next-
this far, thank you. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I
yeah,
think
this is
this conversation should be had by more people, because at the end of the day, you're not one or the other. You're not liberal or conservative. You're not, because that's stupid.
You're
to
a
think
liberal
that
conservative.
we're all in between, and it's
You
smart.
are.
You have to break down the issues and see where you lie
True.
in each, so that you can become more aware of who you are, where you fit.
So
in
join us
society.
next time. Join us next
Yeah.
time where we will be talking about immigration, religion, maybe this topic. I'll leave it out for now. Taxes, welfare,
Wait,
and
leave out,
war
leave
on
out
terror.
taxes or religion.
we'll
We'll talk
find
about
out. We'll talk
we'll
about it
find
next
out.
time.
We'll
talk
see if
about
we
it
talk
next
about
time.
it.
Stay tuned to find out more on
Thank you for
ATV
watching the
Peace.
most controversial,
Stay tuned.
most international, educational
Podcast.
podcast.
Peace.
Check it out.
Love you all.
Love, happiness. I love you, boys.
Very nice.